Now, our fifth and final inductee, my buddy, Mr. Bob Houghton.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this special moment as we celebrate the illustrious career of Bob Houghton and his induction into the Georgia Association of Broadcasters Hall of Fame. And from the one who has been entrusted with much, much more will be asked.
The year of decision in South Vietnam. The year that brings, if not final victory or defeat.
Bob Houghton graduated college in June of 1969, and by August, he was in boot camp for the United States Navy, later being called to Vietnam in the subsequent years. He was a naval advisor responsible for millions of dollars in supplies. During this time, he fought to secure funding for the BEQ management program, a program still serving now, 50 years later. In 1971, Bob wrote about his experience in Vietnam to then California Governor Ronald Reagan. When I participated in sports, I learned it is easy to win, but what makes a team great is to learn from mistakes. If you lose, don't let it happen again. I hope this letter is read with the same spirit with which it was written. From an American who loves his country and for the first time in his life views it from a different perspective.
And any man who may be asked in this century what he did to make his life worthwhile, I think can respond with a good deal of pride and satisfaction. I served in the United States Navy.
In 1974, Bob returned to his home state of Illinois. He attended Northwestern University, receiving a master's in communication with dreams of being a sportscaster, another perspective that would soon change. He found a home in radio sales, continuing work in Chicago until 1982.
It's the weekend and you're on the go. Don't forget to take CCO along, because wherever you go and whatever you do, WCCO Radio is a lot like home.
Bob Houghton made a leap, adopting and managing another hard-working team at WCCO in Minneapolis, then KRLD in Dallas.
You're tuned to the only news radio station in Fort Worth and Dallas, backed by the largest radio news force in Texas. News Radio 1080, KRLD, Fort Worth, Dallas.
And ultimately, Atlanta. WGST was a tremendous marker of achievement and exposed Bob to the Georgia Association of Broadcasters. In 2012, he became their president.
50 years ago, I began my career, and one of my proudest really accomplishments, I believe, is that I've been successful in 5 major markets: Chicago, Minneapolis, Dallas, and my home for the last 30 years, Atlanta, Georgia. Love what you do, and you'll never work a day in your life.
A career worthy of study through personal achievements, and those felt by communities thousands of miles apart.
During his career, Bob has held management positions at WGST Radio, CBS, Georgia Public Broadcasting, and has advocated extensively for the continuation of AM radio.
Why AM radio? First off, 80 million people still listen to it every month. It's very, very important in the underserved communities.
While president, Bob Houghton founded the Georgia Radio Talent Institute, where his commitment to nurturing the next generation of talent saw 150 students participate in and graduate from the program. His role in the Atlanta Radio Association and his involvement with the annual AIR Awards further showcase his dedication to the radio industry.
The GAB was supposed to be a 3-year stop. Instead, it's turned into 13 years, and it's the perfect ending to a wonderful career. What we do every day is important, and most days, we just confirm what's okay, what's normal. But when there's an emergency, We're there. We save lives. We develop stories that need to be told.
Family has always been Bob's strongest pillar of support. His parents, Hazel and Roy, made the courageous decision to adopt him, setting everything in motion. Married to Vivian for 46 years, a proud father to Kimberly, and grandfather to twins Harper and Palmer, their love and support have been instrumental in his journey. In 1971, while overseas, Bob wrote to his parents, "I feel that I am in a much better position than all my friends. I feel I owe nearly all the credit to you. You taught me a lot of things my friends don't know. I realize the sacrifice you both have made for me, and I only hope someday I can give myself to someone as completely as you have given yourselves to me."
I think this Rockdale County team can give them a run for their money.
Bob Houghton is not simply a broadcaster. He is a visionary, a mentor, and a leader. His contributions have left an indelible mark on the industry and have been felt by communities nationwide. From everyone who has been given much, much will be demanded.
It is a great day to be a broadcaster in Georgia.
Now, to share a little more about Bob's life and career, please welcome Tom Gresbeck and Bob's daughter, Kimmy Wilson.
Wow, thank you for the light. Wow, how do you follow that? 6 minutes of an incredible career in broadcasting. Vivian, Kimberly, Grant, honored guests, colleagues, and friends, it is a privilege to stand before you to celebrate the induction of Robert M. Houghton to the Georgia Association of Broadcasters Hall of Fame, an honor tonight that recognizes more than excellence in broadcasting. Tonight we recognize a career of impact, mentorship, and service. I first met Bob in 1981. Ronald Reagan was president, and Olivia Newton-John had the hit Physical on the charts. Bob attempted to mentor me into a volunteer project while at WCCO on the switchboard as a student at the University of Minnesota. It was a project I didn't feel particularly passionate about. As many 18-year-olds, I expressed my disinterest, but Bob, in a way that only he could, responded not with frustration, but with wisdom. He quoted a scripture passage heard earlier that has stuck with me ever since. To whom much is given, much is expected, Luke 12:48. It was a simple lesson which spoke about Bob's character. That moment wasn't about convincing me to wake up early to work the Twin City Marathon water station. It was much more. Even though I didn't know it at the time, it was my first real glimpse into the man Bob truly is, a man who didn't just excel at his craft, but who believes that talent and success mean little unless shared with others. Bob's mentorship didn't stop there. I was wrapping up my bachelor's degree in Minneapolis. Bob introduced me to the Navy Reserve Public Affairs Program. He set me on a path that shaped me as a person and my career to serve as a media relations officer in the United States Navy Reserve, service that lasted 31 years. And like Bob, I retired as a captain. Bob's belief in service extends beyond broadcasting. It's the fabric of his being. He instilled in me the same sense of duty and commitment he demonstrated throughout his 50-year career in broadcasting. The work Bob has done at GAB as president with Georgia Emergency Management in partnership with the Georgia State Broadcasters will endure for years to come. Greatness is not just about giving, it's also about learning and listening. I'm reminded of a quote, "Wisdom flows in both directions." from those who came before us and those who follow. This statement reminds us to celebrate our cross-generational relationships. Bob has exemplified this not only by drawing from lessons of legendary broadcasters who paved the way, but by embracing the fresh perspectives of the next generation. He's done this in part to ensure the future of this industry is as strong as its past. Tonight we celebrate more than a career, we celebrate a legacy of giving, learning, and lifting others up. And so it is my honor to do my part to introduce the newest member of the Georgia Association of Broadcasters Hall of Fame, my closest friend and mentor for more than 45 years, Bob Houghton. Here is Kimberly.
Good evening, everyone. It's an honor to stand before you tonight to introduce a man who's not only made an incredible impact in the broadcasting industry, but has also been a role model to me and my father. For over 50 years, my dad dedicated his career to the broadcasting industry. He always said, if you love what you do, then you'll never work a day in your life. And anyone who worked with him knows he truly lived by those words. His passion for this industry is next to none. But beyond his remarkable career, my dad has always placed an emphasis on something even more important: family, friends, and fellowship. Whether through his service in the military, his dedication to teaching, involvement in church, leadership at Atlanta, most recently the Vietnam Veterans Group, just to name a few. He understands that success isn't just measured by accolades or achievements, but by the impact you have on the lives of others. To whom much is given, much is expected. Friendship. One of the things that has always stood out to me about my dad is his ability to form and maintain deep and lasting friendships. Some of his lifelong friends are here today, a testament to the kind of man he is: loyal, dependable, and always willing to share a laugh. My dad has always valued the people around him, and that's why so many people continue to value him. Family. He taught me the importance of showing up. No matter how busy life got, he always made time for me. Whether it was a big event or just everyday moments, he was always there, proving that presence is one of the greatest gifts you can give the people you love. Tonight we celebrate his incredible career, his well-deserved induction into the Hall of Fame, but more importantly, we celebrate the man behind the success, the father, the mentor, and the friend. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming my dad, Bob Houghton, to the stage.
Wow. I'm going to quote the famous author, Dr. Seuss: "Don't cry because it's over, smile because it happened." As already mentioned in the video, one of my things to say is it's a great day to be a broadcaster in Georgia, and I'd like everybody in the room to kind of say that with me right now. It's a great day to be a broadcaster in Georgia. And that has been a great job for the last 13 years. So many people to thank. I need to start with my wife, Vivian, of 47 years now. We've moved in 9 houses, had 6 dogs, a great daughter, and 2 wonderful grandchildren. And if you talk about, I was trying to skip here. I wonder which is harder, though. She had 39 years of golden retrievers or 47 years of me, and I don't think there's anybody in the room that would doubt that the 47 years with me was more difficult. As we moved around the country, she never once said, we shouldn't do that or we should do this. Just one time in our 47 years, she said, you have to do this. And that was apply for this job. The deadline for that was December 1st, and we spent Thanksgiving that year writing my application to do that. She only spoke once, but she spoke with the best advice she could possibly have given me, and given me this 13 years here at the GAB. I want to introduce my table right now, if you'd all stand up. Talked about friendship. Please stand up if you would. First off, these four people that came, a total of 9,000 miles total to be here tonight. Starts with Steve Ulios. Steve was an intern with me at WGN 52 years ago. So I guess my career is actually more than 50 years. We learned a lot. We had a lot of fun. We're going to talk about scholarships and internships as part of our foundation. That internship made a lifelong friend. All the people at that table, I've been at their weddings. I've been at their parents' funerals. I've been to their kids' weddings. And that's what being a friend is all about. You just heard Tom. Tom used to ride his bike to WCCO radio in the Minnesota winters. Didn't matter how cold, it did matter sometimes with snow, but it didn't matter how cold, the snow, the rain, whatever. And he was different. He was a special person. And he's also somebody as a naval officer that far outsurpassed his mentor. He served in Kuwait, he served in Afghanistan, he served in Gitmo, and he served at the border. Now, where else can you have a career like that? Please give him a standing ovation. All right, just a hand. Two other people at the table. It seems like I don't want to get way ahead of myself because I want to talk about the commonality of all of us that are Hall of Famers tonight. But Bruce Blair joined me at this small little station in suburban Chicago, and we started selling and doing sports, like an awful lot of people in this room started with doing sports, and that was their goal. We had a Saturday morning talk show when talk shows weren't too well known. He was a color man in my play-by-play broadcast, and we just had an unbelievable time. I moved later into the city of Chicago and met Bill Horowitz. Bill became a lifelong friend and has been with me for so many things. And he and Bruce started to get together and have been friends. Their wives are friends, their families are friends. And together they had a 25-year career each at ESPN. Bill is one of the originals of ESPN and has had a great, great career, has his own business now that's been extremely successful. So all those people together had come up with just about 200 years of friendship for me. And as I said, combined traveling on this trip 9,000 miles. So I just want to say thank you again for everybody at the table. And I don't want to leave out my daughter, who you just met tonight, and her wonderful husband, who blessed us with 2 twin girls, and just a tremendous family to have. And I couldn't be prouder of my son-in-law and my daughter. I want to recognize all the other people that went into the Hall of Fame, but I'm actually going to come back and maybe finish with that. Last night we had a party, a retirement party. I want to thank Mary, the goat of our my daughter Kimmy and Tom, and I don't know where he is right now, and Sanders Hickey for putting together that party, and I really, really do appreciate that, and all the people that made it to last night and tonight, and thank you very much for that. Again, I was going to recognize Pete right now, but I'm actually going to come back and talk about everybody at the end. Same with Holly, who was chairman of the board at the time that we'd just been through a rough patch. I can honestly say that every chairman has been very important. Matter of fact, I was going to ask anybody who's been on the GAB board, I think they were asked once before, but if you ever were on the GAB board, please stand up so I can thank you for everything you did for me over the last 13 years. There were very few hiccups in this last 13 years, but there was one, and Holly had to come in and clean up the mess that happened, and I thank you so much, because it might have been a 10-year career if it hadn't been for you. Let me just make sure I don't miss anything here. Leaving a job that you love is very difficult. But it's made easier in this situation because of Randy Gravely. Randy has been a dedicated GAB member, GAB board chairman, GAB Hall of Famer. I'm sure maybe one of the youngest GAB Hall of Famers that we had when he was put in many years ago. And while there were many, many great candidates for the job, when he asked me to go to lunch and talk about the possibility of him giving up his business to have this job, I knew that we were getting the right person, and he's just doing a phenomenal job. But Randy, you are inheriting a GAB that's a lot different than the one I did. We've gone through an awful lot together to make this state association one of the best in the country. We were broke. We had a lot of issues to overcome, and with the help of a very strong board, we finished that. I also want to acknowledge my time on the national board, where I was president of the National Association of the National Alliance of State Broadcast Association. And there are two people here tonight that I'd like to just have stand up and say thank you. Michelle Vetterkin, who is my counterpart from Wisconsin, and Sue Connell, who is the one. She's the Mary of the GAB, of the NAB. So and do tremendous things. I watched one of the things that I learned in that position is to watch how the NAB out-hustled and outwitted our competitors from big tech and now the automobile manufacturers. Small but mighty, the NAB is something that we can all be extremely proud of. And I'm proud of my term as president of the NASBA Association because we were able to bring common sense, stability, and lower prices to the FCC's Regulatory Fees Commission. Randy, I do leave a better GAB than the one I found, but I am confident that you are going to take it to higher places. And I was going to finish, but I do have to just go off script for 1 minute because I just really found it amazing the commonality between the other 4 Hall of Famers. Obviously, Pete mentioned that he worked with and for me, and I appreciated that very much. His brother lives around the corner from me. So and then talk about Phil. As I mentioned, like so many of us in this room, we started in sports and loved sports, and that's what got us into radio. Holly, I already mentioned what you did at a very key time in my time at the GAB. But I think you know now that I am also the foundation chairman, and for you to make that pledge to do that is extremely grateful, and I thank you very much for doing that. Finally, Mark, I really don't know Mark that well, but we sure found a bond tonight when he started talking about his dad who served in Vietnam. And I do want to let you know, I'm actually a little surprised I haven't heard a little bit more about this yesterday and today and tomorrow, but this is the 50th anniversary of the end of the war in Vietnam. And in fact, I was supposed to be in Washington yesterday, today, and tomorrow, but I had more important things to do tonight, so. So I want to thank you very much for this honor, the people I'm going in with, the board that supported me through 13 years, and my daughter, my family, and my wife. And again, I'd like to close by saying it's a great day to be a broadcaster in Georgia. Say that as I take this with me, I was honored to go into as I think was mentioned earlier, the Friends of Georgia Radio, and that night the chairman or the host was help me with the comic, help me who it was, Jeff Foxworthy, and I gave a speech and everybody clapped, said nice things, and I walked away, and then as only he could, if you could just imagine this deadpan, you know, Bob, I believed everything I heard about you, and I really believed you were sincere. But look what you left behind. So I didn't make that mistake.
Didn't you? Well, before we conclude our evening, please make sure to mark your calendars for our annual convention, GABCon, which returns to Atlanta this September 19th and 20th at Truist Park. We hope to see you all there. And oh, by the way, you still have time to get those GABI submissions in. You have until this Monday, so get something in this weekend, all right? You can head to gab.org for more information on how to submit those entries. Thank you to everyone who came tonight to honor the past, the present, and future of Georgia broadcasting. We appreciate all that you have done for our industry and continue to do so in the years ahead. And by the way, I know many of you look forward to Monica Kaufman-Pearson emceeing this program every year. She couldn't be here this year, and I know she's very much missed, and I'm sure she will be back next year, and it was my honor to step in for her this year. This concludes our Hall of Fame banquet. As a member of the GAB Hall of Fame myself, congratulations to all of our inductees. If you are new or a former Hall of Fame inductee, please come to the front of the room for a photo. And if you're a scholarship winner, please join us as well. For everyone else, have a wonderful rest of your evening, and congratulations to all who were recognized. Thank you, and good night.